And then I'm saying statistics, ma'am. I'm saying statistics. You're so loving and tolerant. I can feel the tolerance that you are.
There's never a shortage of people who love to preach, moralize, and of course contradict themselves in the most hilarious ways possible. Some other times, it is other people who point it out for them.
What do you feel if Usain Bolt suddenly identified as a woman?
That's a ridiculous question.
Oh,
and you know
why?
it is. Come on, that's
Why?
silly. Because you can't wake up tomorrow morning and decide that you're a woman and start competing.
It's literally what Leah Thomas has done.
It takes 2 years. In the UK, it takes 2 years.
It takes 1 year to qualify in athletics, right? So Usain Bolt could potentially, within a year, with a bit of reduced testosterone treatment, he could sprint against women.
A huge reduction in testosterone.
Yeah, it makes no difference to body mass or size or power.
But it would
or speed.
It would alter everything.
So would you be fine with that?
If he suddenly did, if that's...
You respect his right to be a woman. It's not ridiculous. It is ridiculous, but not for the reasons you think. Because it could happen. And you think it's fair.
That's obscene. That is obscene.
Would you be happy if Usain Bolt identified as a woman and began winning the races against women by 2 seconds?
You're making an extreme argument out of what are people's lives.
It's happening with Leah Thomas.
It is fair to say that it is only ridiculous when it does not fit their agenda. She just admitted the whole gender ideology is ridiculous, and yet she tries so hard to defend her ridiculous position. So this rich grandma signed to take in immigrants. Because you know there are no illegal human beings. They are just asylum seekers. Watch this.
So you would do anything for like all the illegals and stuff?
I think we have to be fair.
Guys, this is great. I think we found a new home for you guys.
What guys?
There you go.
Yeah. I don't understand what this is all about.
The immigration. They're gonna move into your house.
They are not.
What do you mean? You just said you wanted to support everyone though.
I don't.
No, they're not violent. They're not violent. They're good. They're
We'll hop it, like just like you guys did before.
Thank you very much.
Can they stay for dinner? Wait. Well, we have your signature. You guys got to drive back down south.
Back to Home Depot.
Not even dinner?
The theme of this year's Women's March is We Won't Go Back. So I'm here to find out what we're not going back to. What are we not going back to?
1950.
The 1950s. The 1950s. What are we not going back to? We're not going back to not having abortions, that's for sure. What are we not going back to?
What she said.
Back to the nonsense. The nonsense. What is a woman?
Everything.
Everything.
Whatever she wants to be.
What is a woman? A hell of a lot more than a man.
This is a women's match, by the way, to fight for what they claim to be the right to have an abortion, yet no one can define abortion.
Okay, this video is for white people.
Here we go.
This is my first biracial wedding that we're at right now.
How about we just stop worrying about the race of the individuals getting married and worry about their happiness, because that's why they're getting married.
The black people are dancing, and the white people are sitting down.
Okay.
And so I just want to know, white people, when you're watching black people dance, like, what are you thinking?
Couldn't you just go to the wedding and not do this? If I was the person that invited you to the wedding and I saw this afterwards, you wouldn't ever be able to come to any party I ever threw again. They invited you to enjoy yourself. You went and worried about the white people that were there and the white person that was getting married to the black person. Oh my God, seeing things through a racial lens must be painful, because I can't do that. And since I've got kicked out of the black community and people consider me white, I can answer this. They don't give a if the dancing's good, anybody's going to like it. If the dancing's bad, everybody's going to laugh at it. It doesn't matter if they're black, white, green, or blue. If they're dancing, they're dancing. If they're sitting, maybe they don't feel like dancing. I wouldn't let you come back because that's pretty disrespectful. Can you imagine if a white woman did this whole video?
These types of videos are made by every racist black person on TikTok. This is for white people. If you're not white, keep scrolling. Do you people ever think about the other people, or are you so obsessed with being racist that you don't notice anything else? Enjoy the wedding. I'm surprised you didn't talk about mayonnaise or something.
So we've been talking a lot about like straight relationships, and we haven't talked about how there's like another side to this whole story and shenanigan.
You sleep with women?
Like, I swing both ways.
Okay.
I do. I find it kind of fun and eventful.
I don't think it counts. If you're not having sex with a girl, then
No,
you're not
I was actually
swinging both
getting
ways.
at the fact that like other relationships other than straight, they have a lot of different morals than straight relationships.
Well, I would just say they're all of it is
fluent.
immoral. If
No.
we're speaking about it, it's
No.
all immoral.
I would say more fluent, and definitely you have to be confident to be in certain
Wait,
relationships.
if you read the Bible, any sexual deviance outside of men and women is immoral.
Okay.
Yeah. So what you talking about?
There's a lot of religions, and there's a lot of different genders, and there's a lot of different sexuality. We've just
How many genders are there?
You want to get into it?
No, I
because
just wanna know
do
how many
have friends
genders are
that
there?
identify as not men.
That's
and
what
women.
they identify as.
Well, how many?
Exactly.
How many genders are there?
There's a lot of genders.
How many though?
To educate yourself, you can go online. I don't need to say it for you. I don't need to educate you.
And I'm uneducated, but I'm very intelligent. So you tell me, how many genders are there?
What are we talking? Are you going off the Bible again?
No, just however many genders you
are we
think there
talking
are.
like 2023 and like
I'm just speaking.
there's a lot
what are
of
the
different things
facts?
going on in the world?
Time, and all of this stuff. We don't gotta. What's the facts?
Traditional people would say 2, but more accepting people in today's age would say there's more than 2. And if they're educated enough, they would
I want to know
specify.
how many. What's the number?
I think right now we're up to like 12 maybe.
12 genders?
12 different genders, yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of people
So-
identify differently.
So if there are 12 genders, why do you have a gender reveal party?
Okay.
What's in that cup? Jack and Dumb? She tried to deflect the question so hard so she could try to count on the they and zare she's ran into.
You're a privileged white boy.
Why do you call me a privileged white boy?
That's what you are.
What does that even mean?
It means exactly what I mean.
What privileges?
You're a privileged white boy.
What privileges do I have that you don't?
Everything.
Like what?
Everything.
Like what?
F***ing man.
Name
you
one.
Came out of a woman.
You called me a privileged white boy. That's kind of racist.
Freedom of speech. Racist.
I mean, I'm still yet to hear a privilege I have that you don't.
I am not very good at racial profiling, but is she by chance green?
How'd you get to $22,991 on Costco? What did you possibly do? How many times did you fill up your trailer with Costco gas?
That was before I owned my trailer. That was...
It's income.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that had part of the concrete.
Oh, and the Costco card? You were putting the Costco... So it wasn't even spending money you had?
No.
You were putting it on high interest rate credit cards?
I paid $7,000 in cash.
When you were borrowing
and
this, did you have any intent to ever pay it back? Or were you just opening spending and you knew you weren't going to touch it?
That's a great question.
Do we have an answer to my great question?
No. If I remembered.
It was only a couple years ago.
Uh-huh. Manic episodes are weird. And now it's less of a that issue, more of a impulsivity issue.
Uh-huh, what you can work with a therapist on.
Yeah.
For coping. I'm just like, wait, why did you come on the show?
Because I don't know where to go from here.
But I think you're very determined. Like, you're immediately, I can't do anything because of all these mental health things. Everything is, I can't do it because of this mental health thing.
It's not, I can't.
I'm do anything about that.
It's so hard.
But I can't do anything about that.
I know. No. Like, as far as the looking for income?
I don't know your mental health. I don't know what's real. I don't know what you've been working on. I don't know the history. I can't do anything about that.
Right.
So if nothing can be done because of the mental health,
But
what can I do?
But what do you mean nothing can be done?
It just feels like almost every time we talk about something that's can't or this is because both
Well, because
together,
these were
mental health.
all the debt.
But even the stuff we
besides
talked
the
about
affirm.
today doing, it's just like mental. Okay.
Remember the infuriating girl from last time? Yeah, she says hi to everyone again.
So when my genetic code came into being actually is when my mother was born, because a fetus is actually
No, your
born
genetic
from
code.
eggs.
No, your
Yes,
genetic code.
my genetic code.
No, not
My
part of your
mother's
genetic
eggs.
code. Hold on
My
a second.
mother's
Slow
eggs
down. Let's be
were
scientific. Let's
generated
be
at
scientific.
conception.
I'm letting
So
you be
after-
scientific.
And then my father's were generated at his conception. So if you want to be specific, I actually.
So your father had a beginning at conception? Awesome.
That's actually.
Your father began at conception.
Yes, and
he was a human.
Have you ever seen the woke mind actually crash in real time? Well, you're in for a treat then, ladies and gentlemen. You know the thing about the truth, it always shows its face sooner or later. At conception, yes, you are correct. Maybe glasses do indicate intelligence.
Black women do not get enough recognition at all. Like, when European standards, your first thought is gonna be a white woman. Like, why? Like, why is it not a black woman? Like, they get recognition, okay, cool, but black women is where it's at. Like,
my thing is, if black women are the most beautiful, then how come a lot of black women want to be like white women?
European standards? Don't you people hate Europeans though? Also, once again, the hair. The hair. Just enjoy your life. You keep starting things you can't deal with.
Hey, so I think you're a little bit lost because abortion issues are for the state and this is a federal election. So if you're worried about abortion, you should go to your state elections.
When are they ever not confused?
Can you point me to any single country that has restricted freedom of speech that has done better?
I simply ask you for the source.
Okay.
Can you give me the source
Nazi
on that?
Germany, Soviet Russia, Castro, Che Guevara regimes, current UK, Canada, Maoist China. Need I go on?
Absolutely. You said every country.
Every single country that has limited freedom of speech has resulted in a net loss.
Please give me an actual citation to back up your claim.
You would say that Nazi Germany, Soviet Russia, Maoist China, Che Guevara, Castro regimes. And I can't go through every single country.
I'm just asking you to give me a scholarly source that says that.
I don't have a scholarly source with me right now saying that Nazi Germany is worse off with speech laws than the United States.
And so what I said
You're just going to have to take my word for it.
And exactly what I said was there are plenty of examples where it doesn't work. You're absolutely right. I don't disagree with that at all.
Can you point me to any example where it has?
Eventually, we can possibly get to the point where it can work. And we need to keep trying. That doesn't mean because it hasn't worked, we don't give up.
One country that has better net results for human freedom and human rights by restricting speech. What's your source? One.
I'm honestly going to say we're not there yet.
Thank you so much. Hopefully, once we find that one example, that'll be great.
This is just like asking for actual citation to accept that water is colorless. It is not our fault that you chose to argue on something you have no idea about.
That's where the whole debate goes rogue. You were born a biological male, you were born a biological female, Douglas biological male. This is just a fact. Right?
No.
Once you start saying there are hundreds of genders and you can identify as anything you want, you're going to end up with kids at school going, I'm a horse. And you've got to treat me like a horse.
Piers, you're confusing two things.
No, I'm not.
Sex and gender.
I'm not.
I accept.
They are being conflated.
Biological sex is one thing which I totally accept, and so do 99% of the people in the LGBT plus community. Gender is something different. Gender identity is how you see yourself.
And do you believe it's limitless?
No, I don't believe it's limitless.
What's the limit?
Well, there is basically male and female and intersex, but there are people who have different gender identities.
No, but how many genders are there?
Well, there is no fixed number.
So what's the limit?
I don't see a particular limit.
There's no limit. So when you said said there is a limit. Now you admit there's no limit.
These people can't explain their own insanity because deep down they know that it's lunacy. Nothing says peaceful protest like harassing drivers and blocking traffic. It's all part of the woke playbook. Say one thing, do the opposite.
What we do is we annualise our figure to full-time. So we look at all part-time employees and full-time employees that may have worked part of a 12-month period, and we annualise that data to take into account part-time hours. So therefore we're converting the part-time hours to full-time, if you like.
So do you take into account the fact that on average a male full-time employee works longer hours than a female full-time employee?
Not directly, no.
Making decisions of wage pay difference without considering work hours is just the opposite direction of how things are supposed to be done.
We'll end with this because we're talking about womanhood, so people can probably shout out the question I'm going to ask you right now.
Okay.
You know that you're a woman.
Yes.
What is that?
So gender is a social thing. It only makes sense.
I don't want to hear that. What is a woman? What is a woman?
What is a woman?
The word woman, define in the dictionary, go.
A woman is somebody who is included and respected and seen and participates in society, recognized by other women. If you speak with women...
Circular definition.
That's mine. Whatever.
Okay. All right.
If the very thing you claim to stand for is something you can't even define correcting, does that not mean that there is a knowledge gap that makes everything else you think you know baseless?
Is it genuinely your position that you think that all men are pedophiles?
I think the vast majority, yes. Innately, yes. Biologically, yes. I think that they were granted the opportunity to get away with having sex with a 15-year-old girl with no repercussions, they would do it, yes.
What's the evidence for that?
You have no evidence for this.
This entire conversation has been
Yeah,
evidence.
so that's not an argument. That's an argument from incredulity. It's fallacious. What's the evidence that I can look at right now that proves your point?
What are you even talking? Look at.
I'm talking about evidence.
Well, hold on.
Do you have any or not?
Yes.
The least you can do when you make claims like this is to at least have evidence to support your claims. It is just like waking up one morning and saying all humans are serial killers because it's innate and seen in some humans.
So I can look at the societal damage and how horrific it is mentally on women to be involved in work, and none of them end up with a good result.
But why do you care about these people if they're nobodies?
Because this is the society I live in.
Right, but I don't care about anyone.
Because here's what I would hope. That I'd be driving down the road in my shitty car, and the tire goes, and bam, I hit a rock, and my daughters are orphaned, and they're struggling, and one of their friends goes, hey, you know what? You could go to this shoot, and they'll pay you 20 grand. And she goes, you know what? That sounds like easy money. I wish to God, before they walk in that studio, somebody like me would be like, no, don't do that. Do anything but that. Work as a barista. Go do anything but this.
Right.
But that's what I would hope, but that's not the world we live in.
Look, I'm not going to debate you on that, but if someone chooses to go into that, it's like, I mean, working at Starbucks is arguably more degrading to your body than taking a...
Yeah, why can't somebody choose to f*** a body?
Well, they can.
Then do you have any moral qualms with that?
No, because the body's...
So, this absolute waste of space in the baseball hat is an of pimp. That's all you need to know.
What have I lied about?
Like everything you said.
Name one thing I lied about.
Everything.
Name one.
Yeah, you said there's no such thing as white privilege.
There is no such thing as white privilege. It's racist and a lie. Asian Americans are the richest people in America per race. If you make 3 big choices in America, you're guaranteed not to live in poverty. You know what those 3 choices are? Get married before you have kids, get a job, and graduate high school. You know what community does that at the highest rate? Asian Americans. That's why they're successful. We live in a meritocracy. You make good choices, you will be rewarded for those choices. Irrelevant of your skin colors. When you say white privilege exists, good choice privilege exists.
And at the same time, the consequences of laziness and the victim mentality also exists.
Just like in gender roles, like I don't want him to expect me to do anything as a woman. Like I don't want him to have any certain expectation of he thinks I should do this or that I should do that.
I'm trying to call back to the beginning of the conversation. Didn't you say men should pay for first aids?
I said they should, yeah. But if they don't, I'm not saying they have to. Like I would go 50-50, but I would prefer if they did.
So they should?
They should, yeah. But it's not like a deal. Like I'm not like, oh, like I'm not gonna go on the state.
But isn't that based on a perception of a gender role?
Yeah, but it's not like I'm like he has to. I just would prefer that. Like if he prefers
he has to if he's gonna date you, right?
No, he doesn't have to. I just would prefer
Okay, so you would go on dates with men who you paid for?
I wouldn't pay for them. No, I would go 50.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't pay for them. So then you have a perceived gender role, a stereotypical gender role that you want him to do, right?
I'm really starting to get sick of hearing these people speak. What are you even talking about?
Listen to what I'm saying, and you will understand, perhaps, what I'm trying to imply here.
That's very patronizing.
Utilizing the hostages. Yeah, I am being patronizing. I don't know who the f you are, and you're over here chirping all the way from fucking London about Palestine and doing a both sides are fine type bullshit where you're talking about how you want to free Palestine, but also simultaneously, you know, both sides got a lot going on. Shut the f up. You don't know anything.
You know what? I'll allow it. If you really want to fight, get on a plane. You're a man, aren't you?
I'm voting for Kamala because of the child tax credit and because of
Really?
Yeah.
You know the one that Trump had in his tax cut?
No, I know. It's a good thing though. I agree with it both.
Yeah, so do you think that Kamala would manage the economy well?
Yeah.
Why hasn't she done it the last 3.5 years?
She's the vice president. Are we gonna
You're right.
act like the vice president is managing the economy?
Do you think Joe Biden's running the economy right now?
I think the White House senior staff.
Hold on a second. If Kamala Harris wanted to run the country, she could. How did Kamala Harris do with running the border?
How
many illegals have come in under her watch? Can you guess?
7 million. I obviously don't know the number off the top of my head.
It's 10 million people. Is that a success?
I don't think the border wall would be any more of a success.
Well, hold on. Under Trump, border crossings were at an all-time low. Kamala Harris, 10 million people have illegally come to this country, which is more than the population of New Jersey. Why does she deserve to be a president when she can't even manage the border?
Why? Okay, so, yeah, I know. The bill that Biden and Harris put in to increase the border patrol.
Don't. 1 second, please. No, it's not about the bill. You could do this all by executive order. Remain in Mexico. They've decided to empower the foreign invasion. Kamala Harris has overseen the border. She failed. She oversaw the Russian-Ukrainian dispute, went to the Munich Security Conference, and hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians died. She was the deciding vote on the Inflation Explosion Act that makes everyone have to pay more in goods and services. Her first day was 3.5 years ago as VP. What has she done that has given you confidence she'll do a good job as president?
I mean, she inherited a bad COVID economy, and it's gotten better. It has. It's gotten better since the COVID. Yes, the economy is better since the end of COVID.
Prices are higher. People can't afford homes. 1.5 million people lost their jobs in the last year. You ask anybody in the economy, the American people don't agree with you, by the way. 75% of Americans disapprove of the economy right now.
Yeah.
But if she was so good, by the way, so she says, I'm going to do no tax on tips, stole it from Trump. Why doesn't she just tell the IRS to do that right now?
Right. She's been in there years.
I don't honestly know much about tax on tips and the IRS.
These are the kind of people who get to decide and vote for leaders.
I mean, we already went to the border, but just like, you got to give me something, or the audience, like, make the case. Like, we're here in a battleground state, Wisconsin. Like, show me the case. I'll give you the case. Trump was president for 4 years. People were richer, world was safer, border was secure. Things were going really, really well. We respect our world. Kamala Harris, like, what's the thing? What's the sales pitch? Outside of vibes and Brat Summer, like, what is the pitch?
I mean, abortion's a big one. We're going to disagree on it, but I think it should be.
Okay, let's say you're right on abortion.
Yeah.
Okay, where is that the most important civilizational issue? While we're on
it's pretty important to a lot of people.
So just let me understand. So Donald Trump says leave it to the states. How would that impact Wisconsin?
So Wisconsin is this extremely gerrymandered state. Most of our statewide elected officials are Democrats, and our state legislature is almost a supermajority of Republicans. It's not reflective of what the state actually wants. And the law we're defaulting to is from 1849, I think. So it's left to the states, but we're not going to pass any new. We're going to default to 1849.
But isn't there a ballot referendum around it? It's on the ballot, right? Yeah. I was going to say Wisconsin just legalized abortion. So how would Trump even interfere with your abortion plans?
I don't think I think it's by appointing pro-life judges to circuit courts and things like that. That's the main way.
Okay, so the case for Kamala is that Donald Trump might appoint circuit court judges.
He's going to appoint worse judges. That's one of the most important parts of the presidency.
So I'm just being clear.
Appointing judges like the most.
Well, first of all, I think his judges were amazing and upheld the Constitution and the rule of law and all that. But it's remarkable to me that like the lack of the case for Kamala. Does it bother you? We can talk in a second. Does it bother you that she does not take questions from the press? I've been here for 3 hours. She will not take 5 minutes of questions. Does that bother you? For a president, not a senator, a president.
I haven't watched her on the press a lot, so
because you wouldn't be able to watch her on the press because she doesn't talk to the press.
Like she Vicks.
It's fine.
If she's not talking to the press, I think she should talk to him more. It's not going to change my vote.
These ones, if she is elected, it's going to be 4 years of vibey poverty and brat violence.
So I was a 7th grade civics teacher, government teacher, and she is an elementary school teacher.
What year did we get our independence?
17 something. We're teachers.
I actually don't teach what's in our curriculum. I'm teaching children social studies that's not in our curriculum, teaching them things about how to be an anti-racist. I taught them about protesting. I taught them about Black Lives Matter.
Would you imagine that? Who would have thought? Woke teachers teaching woke topics. How original. Congratulations, parents. Your children are going to graduate to be allies, anti-racist, protesters, and illiterates.
Buddy, he pooped his pants. Oh. Whoa. Damn.
Well, at least this child does not sound like he's learning woke social studies in school. A win is a win, ladies and gentlemen.
But you think this is wifey material?
Are you saying that I'm not? Are you saying that I'm not?
Bro, come here, when you what's up? Hey, do you think she's wifey material by showing her out?
Who? Wifey material by showing her? I mean, she's pretty fine. You know, I don't know about wifey material by showing her.
Because wifey material doesn't define what you're wearing. It's the type of person that you are.
Nah, true shit. Okay, I agree. But if I let's say if I was your boyfriend, I wouldn't like you to be wearing this
But
shit.
you're not, though. You're not. She's my girlfriend.
No, I'm not. That's why I don't give a.
I want my girlfriend to wear this. I think my girlfriend looks hot. I want my girl to go out like that.
But answer this. What is a guy gonna think when he sees this?
She a little.
Everybody be like, oh, she's
Just
hot.
thinking as a guy.
Excuse me?
That's
So you're
mine as a
calling me
guy.
a
That's the way guys think.
So
bro.
yes or no, are you calling me?
I am.
Wow.
That's the way guys think.
The fuck? My girlfriend.
Yeah. I don't know
So
the way guys
basically
think.
you're small. So basically you're small.
When you disagree with an out-of-control woman, you're small. It's small D energy. Okay, fine. Whenever a woman disagrees with a man, can we tell her it's because she's ugly? I mean, equal rights is directly proportional to equal lefts, no?
So I want to ask you, what do you think about veganism? Vegetarianism.
I am not a fan of veganism, but you have a right to be vegan, obviously.
So let me clarify.
Yeah.
You on abortion, you support pretty much banning abortion in most situations.
Yes, but humans are not rabbits.
Yes, so
And
how,
humans are not deer, and humans are not cows.
Okay, so I want to ask you, do you think it's a little bit hypocritical that you oppose abortion, but you also oppose veganism? Most animals, most adult like cows, pigs, chickens, they're more intelligent than fetuses and little children, small infants.
I can't believe
So
I have
how
to.
come?
I have never heard that one before. We are comparing cows to babies now.
Okay, if you leave a cow for 5 years, will the cow ever be able to talk?
No.
If you leave a fetus for 5 years, will the fetus be able to talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So
Maybe.
then which one has reason and a soul and can make sense of the natural world, aka an elevated being worthy of protection?
But that's
a cow
not
or a human being?
That's not a good argument. That's like saying mute humans that are born that are without the ability to speak can't have rights.
It's not just about speaking, it's about reason, it's about having a soul, it's about being not an animal. What is a human being to you?
A human being is someone who grows, who has personality, and someone who can speak. And if you mean like biologically, like someone of
No, just give me a definition of, you have a dog and a human being. How do you know which is which?
a human being can walk and talk and
Well,
yeah.
a dog can walk.
Yeah, but I can't walk and talk. Sure.
Here's the difference. A human being can tell you the difference between right and wrong. An animal can only tell you the difference between pleasure and pain.
Yeah, but animals still suffer like human
Of course,
fetuses do.
but again, the moral worth of a human being is objectively different because we are able to make moral contentions, not just contentions based on how we feel. Animals can only feel, they cannot reason.
Yeah, but that's
And therefore, we should be treated different morally. Now, from a typical Western religious view, we have souls as human beings, and animals do not.
Is his argument actually that we are the same as animals? Or animals are treated better? Or getting abortions is similar to being omnivores? I am very baffled. This is an adult college student. College might be a scam after all. I'll just throw in one more crazy thing he said.
What about milk? But animals are all the time. Cows are to produce milk. Yeah, to produce milk, a cow has to be impregnated.
You think that cows are being... I gotta be honest,
Yes.
I've been doing this for 12 years. I've never heard that before.
Yes, but they are because they're not referred to as being. They're said to be forcibly inseminated. How come that's okay, but being a small child is not?
I would not...
Yeah.
Welcome to Bull.
I don't...
Okay, I'm trying to be nice and respect guidelines, but he sounds like he has minor skeletons in his closet. Babies are not animals, born or unborn. That's all.
I like your cape.
Thank you. It's a flag.
What's the flag?
Soviet flag.
Oh my gosh. I take it back.
You claimed that the reason that there are more transgender people now is because they are more confused. The hate crimes against transgender people are much higher than those against any other demographic. So is it not more likely that there are more transgender people now because...
Are there more hate crimes in the United States against transgender people or Jews?
I guess transgender, but I am not sure.
You are certainly not sure. That's right. It's the answer is Jews.
That'd just be a numbers thing, though. Like if you're like,
It is a numbers thing, but you cited a numbers thing, so then I'm citing a different numbers thing.
0.1% of people in America are transgenders, and yeah, like 100% of them could be like affected by crime.
Is it not, though, more likely that people are identifying as transgender now because of a decrease in the percentage of hate crimes as opposed to previous decades?
The identification is part of the confusion because a man isn't a woman and a woman isn't a man. There is sexual difference. The sexes are not indistinguishable, they're not indiscernible, and there's a great confusion in our culture that men can be women, but they can't.
A woke person and a Soviet flag is the weirdest combination ever. This kid would literally vanish if he did this in the Soviet Union.
Asians, right, on average,
make more money, in terms of medium, make more money, better test scores, get into better colleges, all that stuff. I think the question is, why is that? And I don't know, model minority, whatever that label wants
That's
to mean.
actually a myth because we cannot be.
Well, no, listen. Well, let me finish my point. We need to observe what makes people successful and unsuccessful. And I think when you look at trends that are generally true in the Asian community, not of everyone, but are generally true, usually you have families that are sticking together. You have, people are taught to work hard in school, not get into trouble. I think that translates to why Asians en masse are successful. And I don't think you have to be Asian or white for that matter to not have kids out of wedlock, not, commit crime, not cause trouble or whatever it is. It's just a matter of common sense. That's what makes people successful.
Imagine getting enraged over the idea that it's beneficial for children to grow up in a loving household where the parents stay together and instill good values. Wokies don't care much about what you have to say as much as they care about what they think is the truth. You could be saying the right thing and they still get triggered.
Right, the moment it looks like it's just over the top, like it's everywhere you go is pride, 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 pride. Do we need to be that exuberant about it?
Are you blaming gay people for that? I mean,
no.
I thought the company.
Honestly, I don't care what sexuality anybody is. I don't think most people do anymore.
Right, so what is the problem then? Why are you so triggered by a flag?
I'll tell you
it's a
what
rainbow
problem.
flag. You mentioned Regent Street.
I'm not triggered by a rainbow flag. I'm triggered by the fact that everywhere I go for a calendar month, everything has to be a rainbow flag.
Well, I'm triggered that everywhere I go for the entire year, everything has to be straight. Why is straight
Where's
everywhere?
my straight flag?
Why am I constantly getting straight
Where is my straight flag?
Why are straight people holding hands in the street?
When have you ever seen a straight flag?
Why is Mickey Mouse got a
Tell
girlfriend?
me one straight flag
Why
hanging
are you
right now
pushing?
anywhere in the world.
Why are straight people
Where
pushing
is the straight flag?
identity
Where's the
onto
straight
me?
flag?
Everywhere.
Where's my straight flag?
It's everywhere.
It's never been a straight flag.
You're a straight flag.
Let me bring Tommy back, because this made me laugh. Demi Lovato has revealed she got tired of using they, them pronouns.
We would definitely make a lot of progress if they show us the so-called flag.
I think I didn't give permission to film me. I don't want to be filmed. Public stream, you don't need your permission. Cool.
You literally walked up to him and took a photo without his permission.
I'm not being put on f***ing TV though, you know?
Are you worried you're going to come off looking stupid?
No.
Okay.
It's not something I want to debate. That was just very typical of the level of intelligence. Oh, he's back.
Don't you find it funny that you said you don't want to be on film, you walked up, you took a photo without his consent, then you complained about being filmed without consent, and then you just won't leave us alone?
Being interviewed and photographed, you know?
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Okay, so you didn't have to answer. It's just being photographed without consent is the same thing.
I want to be interviewed.
And you're still here.
Don't do to others what you don't want to do to you is a logic that eludes wokies. It is fine when you do it to others, but you remember legal rights when they do it to you.
I just want to ask you what you as a male, just like would guess you are a male, think you have the right to speak up and tell women what to do with their body?
Are men allowed to have opinions on moral topics?
Yeah, you are, of course, allowed to have opinions, but it's a really controversial opinion to tell a woman what to do with their body. You are a man, and it's not your field-based eye.
So if it's not your DNA, why is it your choice?
Of course, it's my body.
It happens to be temporarily in your body, but is it your being?
Yeah.
It is? Didn't the woman make a choice to have sex and then she should carry the responsibility that comes with it?
I think there are two people who should carry the responsibility, not only the woman.
Okay, wait, hold on. So then shouldn't a man be able to say, you can't have an abortion without my consent? I thought you said it was just a woman's issue.
Most wokies won 100% of the rights, but 0% of the responsibility. She did not even realize that she was making his point for him.
Who gets to determine whether someone is a negative on well-being?
But also, who gets to say what a woman gets to do with their body?
That part. We do that all the time. We say that women can't murder their born children. We say that women can't take. We say women can't take thalidomide when they're pregnant because it causes birth defects. We say that men can't rape women. If bodily autonomy is absolute, why can't men rape women?
What? That is a crazy.
I'm sorry, what? I know why. I know why men
statement.
can't rape women.
So
because God says so.
So you're trying to say that men should rape women if we should have bodily autonomy?
I'm not saying men should rape women. I'm saying the opposite.
That's what you just said.
I'm saying men should not rape women because God said so. But I'm asking you, by your standard of bodily autonomy, why men can't rape women?
Because God said so? Or do you think that if God said it's okay that men should rape women?
God never said that it was okay that men rape women.
Yeah, but this is the opposite.
Answer the counterfactual.
if God said it was okay, would it be moral for men to rape women? Answer the counterfactual, just like you were doing.
That's actually impossible for God to say that because it's not consistent with his own nature and character.
Of course, but like again, we just say if it was. We say we give the counterfactual.
Men still rape women. Can I ask you?
Doesn't matter.
Can I ask you something about that? Okay, so when a man rapes a woman, my position is I think that the man, if after a fair trial is found guilty, he should get the death penalty. You believe the child should, correct?
I don't care. It's the woman's choice.
There we go. Radio silence when faced with the truth.
Hypothetical scenario. A group of black men beat up a white person because he's white. Is that racism?
It's wrong, but they are not racist.
Okay. And then, so I'm trying to figure out the hierarchies.
Technically.
What about what if he's Asian?
Let's look up the definition.
No, what
I
if he's
think
Asian?
she's talking about like the actual definition versus like what people's interpretation of the word is.
A group of
things.
Group of Asian men beat up a black person because he's black. Is that racist?
No.
Oh my God. So wait, a group of white people.
I'm going off of the definition. So we want to be technical. That's true.
A group of white people beat up a black person. Racist, right? So is the only group that can be racist towards black people then is white people?
We're in the U.S.
I'm a mixed kid, and that is not true. No.
This conversation is just taking. Oh no. We're gone.
You know, that's actually scary. She could be placed on a jury to decide the course of another person's life. This has to be the dumbest person I have ever encountered on the internet. What?
What is it? What you got?
Because what she's saying is really disturbing because it's like the boy who cried wolf. There's real racist situations that'll be ignored because of the goofy shit you just said. That don't make no damn sense. Systematic racism. If I'm black and somebody from the neighborhood that's white and we say, yo, get out of here, white boy, and beat him up, that's racist. Is it systematically racism? No, because we don't have a system backing us to prevent them from upward mobility. But discriminating anybody based on race, gender,
it's discrimination.
It's racism because it's based on their race. It's discrimination when you're saying I don't like you because I don't like what you're wearing. I don't like your shirt. That's discrimination. But if I'm doing it solely based on race, it's racism. So racism, prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is minority or marginalized. The belief that different races possess distinct characteristics, abilities, or qualities, especially so as to distinguish them as inferior or superior to one another. So what are you talking about?
Okay, now look up who can be racist.
Anybody. We don't have to look it up. We're grown as hell.
You tell us. No, you tell us.
No, I'm asking you to look it up.
We don't have to.
I'm asking you to look it up.
Yeah, but it's your claim.
Everybody can be racist.
No, but it's your claim. It's your claim. So who can be racist?
Black people?
I already
You're
told
racist
you.
based on the goofy shit you just said. Because it don't make no damn sense. You just said that white people can only be racist. That don't make no sense.
Let's not attack each.
This is actually the first time everyone kinda agreed on that show. Well, almost everybody. There's the blonde feminist trying to play devil's advocate.
So what brought you out here today?
I'm out here to be a voice for the women that don't have a voice or don't feel like they can voice, asking for rights, basic health care.
So a huge question, the pro-life, pro-choice movement is, when does life begin? In your opinion, when does life begin?
So I have a 30-year-old child who still lives at my house, and I pay his phone bill. And so I tell him his life begins when he gets out and he makes his own decisions.
So, hypothetically, if you wanted to terminate his life, you're like, you live with me, you're mine.
How old are you?
20.
Okay, I'm 52. My children, there are times when I've realized I don't drink enough to deal with them.
Awesome. So what y'all's names and what got you out here today?
My name's Abby. I'm Maria.
Awesome. What got you out here today?
So it was mostly me.
Mostly you?
Mostly me, and I dragged her out.
Those are not words I expect to hear from a loving mother, but her 30-year-old is still with her, and she raised him to believe his life only begins when he moves out and starts making decisions. So I guess it's a big Rubik's Cube of ridiculousness.
Life begins Who knows?
Yeah.
But if I'm dying, bleeding internally, I don't want to wait 4 hours for my doctor to meet with lawyers to come up with an affirmative defense why he should validate the reasons to go in and do a procedure that's going to save my life, which is the laws in several states now. So life is not the deciding factor.
And what would you...
My life, as it says, it's not pro-life when the woman dies while we wait and we put in barriers that are going to endanger her life.
And what would you say to the 96% of scientists that say life begins at conception? What would you say to them?
I don't think, even in the Bible, if it's from a biblical viewpoint, the Bible doesn't say that. Jewish law, when a baby takes his first breath, that's when life begins.
And what would you say to the 96% of scientists that say life begins at conception? Yeah.
Well, then take that embryo out and put it in a petri dish, and what's going to happen to it?
That's what you would say to them?
It's not going to live. At that point, it's a parasite, and so that's not life. I mean, that's a living being, but it's living off of somebody else. So if you don't keep the person it's living off of healthy and alive, then that life inside has no chance.
Does this argument also make your son fair game?
Understood what I meant by that. I meant if I say something, I'm sure that I will be arrested for reasons of Homeland Security. So if you could please just answer my question.
If you condemn Hamas, Homeland Security will arrest you.
If I support Hamas, because your question forces me to condemn Hamas. If I support Hamas, I look really bad.
If you don't condemn Hamas, obviously you support it. Case closed.
Imagine that a question has to force you to condemn terrorism and you still won't do it. But somehow you and your ignorant activists are the righteous peace seekers. You can just say you love terrorism as long as it's against people you don't like. At least be a bold terrorist supporter.
Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So
pregnant.
you are denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this, where
No,
they're
they're
told
allowed
that they're
to question.
opening up people to violence?
We have a good
by
time in my
questioning.
class. You should join.
I bet.
You might learn a lot.
The moment you ask questions about what their thought process is like, they claim that you are being transphobic. Common. We are just trying to understand whether you went to biology classes.
I'm asking you, did your mother see you leave out the house like that? Because at this point, that's who I'm going to call. Your mother.
Call her. She's not going to answer.
Well, somebody's going to have to come get you because you cannot be at school like this.
Why can't why?
Because it's inappropriate.
What's inappropriate?
Everything you have on. No, everything you have on is inappropriate.
What we're all wearing is inappropriate.
Everything you have on is inappropriate.
It's a hot mess. Clothes on. I got top and bottom.
Top and bottom. Top and bottom. You thought you was going to come to school.
I thought I was going to come to
your
school,
mother
learn a lesson in my top and my bottom, and then let's learn a lesson.
No, you ain't going to learn a lesson in my class. The lesson is to put clothes on in the morning when you come.
Nothing screams I want attention like going half naked to classes. This is the kind of thing you have nightmares about, but seeing it as someone's reality is beyond me.
Life begins when you understand living women matter more than potential babies.
What is it?
What do you mean?
If it's a potential baby, what is inside of a woman?
It's a fetus.
Is it living? How can it grow if it's not living?
Actually, that's like saying if an acorn is a tree.
When does the fetus become living?
Nope.
That's actually a good question, but that line...
Yeah, of course, because you don't know it, because it's living. It's living.
Oh, wait a second, but I got something for her.
When does this clump of cells or fetus become living?
When it can sustain its own life.
But when is that? When is the sustainability? How do you sustain life? Like, my newborns aren't sustainable. You can't just have a newborn and they just like live on their own, right?
Right.
She could not even sustain the argument. Imagine being proud of yourself for being able to read that off your paper.
Hey, I really wanted to thank you for coming out today, and specifically for talking to those who have different viewpoints than your own. I'm not looking to argue with you, I just want to know about the ideology as to why you think that a woman shouldn't have the right to her own bodily autonomy in regards to abortion.
A woman should have the right to her own bodily autonomy, but not to kill another human. You know, but as far as the idea that I'm like sitting awake at night thinking, how do I control women's bodies? No, not really, not at all, actually. The thing that I do care about is the preservation of human lives. I don't have an argument that pro-choicers are ignoring a premise. That's fine. You're allowed to ignore a premise or think a premise that I'm giving is wrong. Well, it turns out that the vast majority of women for literally all of human existence have engaged in childbearing and rearing, and it has not, in fact, ruined their lives. In fact, married women with children are, by poll data, the happiest women in America.
All right, thank you for the straw man fallacy. Thank you.
I missed what she actually said. What was it? Straw man?
Straw man fallacy, I think.
You can't just shout straw man and run away. Do you want to come back and explain why it was a straw man, or no? Okay, you're just going to run away.
That's literally throwing rocks at somebody and then going hide. She took one philosophy class and now she's Aristotle.
Can you identify as a black person?
No,
Why?
because I'm not black.
I'm not a woman, but I can identify as a woman according to you.
If you transition, maybe.
What defines a transition?
If that's your goal, you know?
If you believe it.
Sure.
If you believe you're black, why aren't you black?
Well, that's just not, that's like genetics. That's like ancestry.
You're also born a man or a woman. It's the same thing. That's also genetics.
Okay, I'm over it.
They always disappear when you bring facts and they know they're wrong. When faced with logic, ignorance always wants to flee.
Taliban can use our social media, but an ex-president can't. There is something wrong with it.
Did the Taliban violate community guidelines?
It doesn't matter.
I think it matters to Twitter what their community guidelines are. That's why they banned Trump, because Trump violated community guidelines. That's what every platform has.
The Taliban stones people because they're gay.
If they've done that and they've posted videos of stoning gay people, I agree, they should be removed, and that is fundamentally wrong.
So the problem is they're smart enough to not do that.
I'm an American, and I have to vote between this person and this person. I need equal access to both of them to decide what's right. Bro, you could be a Klansman, you could say you hate black people. That's not my job to police your language. I can't expect everybody to love me and think the way I think. All y'all think different. I mean, that's totally dope. But the fact that you want somebody removed because they think differently, that could be you one day.
According to Wokies, as long as someone doesn't go against the community guidelines of Twitter, they are not doing anything wrong.
Trump or Kamala?
I want Kamala to win.
I've been voting Democratic since '72.
What's on Kamala's 100-day plan?
I don't. Has she published it yet?
No, which is pretty shocking that she hasn't published it.
She's hinted at a few things.
She's only been running for 7 weeks.
Well, yeah, because she committed a coup against Biden. That's why she's only been running for 7 weeks. No one voted for her. Like, she wasn't elected.
Well, she was elected.
She was elected.
No, she wasn't. The people didn't vote for her in the primaries.
Trump just had token opposition himself because his party is a cult.
Trump ran against Nikki Haley, ran against Ron DeSantis, ran against Vivek Ramaswamy. He didn't even show up to a debate, and he still won. Like, the people voted for him. The Democrat base didn't even vote for Kamala. No, but you could say he's an idiot, but we're talking here about legislation.
I think this interview is over. You're not even showing her the courtesy of pronouncing her name properly. So I think I don't want to talk anymore.
Why not? Because you can't defend and stand on your beliefs?
It would have been great if Biden held to his original plan to be a one-term president, but unfortunately it took him a long time to realize that he should retire. So this was the best alternative on short notice.
But Kamala's been the vice president. Biden's been cooked since 2020. No, it's Kamal. Yo, in 2024 I can identify as whatever I want. Like, I can call her Kamal if I feel like it.
It's not you're identifying as anything. It's you're not gracious enough to pronounce her name the way that she pronounces her.
Okay, I'll pronounce it right. Camilla. Wait, are you walking away? You guys are just as senile as Biden or what?
She's upset over the name pronunciation. Side note, did anyone else find it obnoxious that she had a whole show because she wanted her name pronounced correctly? She's been vice president for 4 years. I'm sure she could have brought that up amidst her coconut tree speeches. Instead, she decided to use adorable children to pass the time because she didn't have anything better to do.
White privilege.
Right.
Think about it. Whose flesh tone is this? I have brown Band-Aids in my classroom. I had to special order them. They're twice as much as these, and they're hard to find, and they're frequently out of stock. But when I hand a brown child a white Band-Aid, I am literally adding insult to injury, and I refuse to do that in my classroom.
What injury exactly? The one he needs the Band-Aid for? Or the one that he somehow has to inherit because you guys were bored and needed to create new problems?
Trump or Kamala?
Kamala.
How come?
Because she's brat.
What does that mean?
Google it.
No, but you're right here. I'm asking you.
A brat is a girl who's a little bit messy. She likes to party.
So only because she's a woman, basically? Or what?
I think she has actually really good policies. I think Kamala would actually make this country a better place, whereas I think Trump would make a lot of people sad. Have you seen his 2024 agenda thing?
2024 agenda?
Yeah, he came out with a...
You mean Project 2025? Yeah, he said he doesn't associate with that at all.
Agenda thing? Trump would make people sad? Kamala is a brat? Yay! We no longer speak English. We communicate in foolishness and TikTok trends.
Follow me around some more.
So it's because I'm wearing a MAGA hat.
It's because you're a freak and you want some action.
Got it.
Follow me around some more. I'm going to the management this morning and telling them what the hell is going on with this guy.
He's got gray hairs, you guys, and this is what he has become. A crazy, old, and woke Karen.
Oppress black people.
He's a part of a long chain of a system that has been oppressive, and he magnifies that oppression.
How does he do that?
Obviated in everything, and the fact that you're asking this question just for
tax cuts oppress black people.
The fact that you're asking this for
the First Step Act oppresses black people.
You're asking this for views is crazy when people are doing this and their lives depend on it. And this is really shameful.
I know.
This is really pathetic.
It's so pathetic that I support a president who doesn't oppress black people.
People to see you, and that's great, and that this is the hill that you're choosing to die on. You can do so much better. Like, do a makeup tutorial.
You can do better.
Oh no, I'm the
do
best.
Cooking. Is that this?
That's right. No. Do a makeup channel.
You just made a joke. I'm triggered, and I'm telling Facebook.
You can do anything that you want.
I am a good
cook. You don't need to do this. What I'm saying
yes, I do. Yes, I do. No, because I'm good at this. I'm good at exposing your guys' hypocrisy. I'm very good at it. That's why people watch me, because they love to sit here and see that you guys don't know what you're protesting. You don't know what you're talking about.
Because it assuages a feeling of guilt inside them.
She should go do a makeup tutorial? She should make cooking videos? Well, someone must not have gotten the memo. It's 2024, and the cancel culture exists now.
I had a neighbor confront me for using the women's restroom. I lived here for 4.5 years. Everyone should know that I'm a trans woman.
You know what? I'm just going to say it because I'm afraid that if nobody says anything and stands up for this type of behavior, then scared women and girls are going to be the ones paying the price for this. When are we going to draw the line? Because the idea of a grown-ass man walking in after my daughter to the locker room or to the restroom or whatever horrifies me, and it should for every single parent out there.
He is trans? Now they aren't even trying. They are just going on this psychotic rampage because they know that they will get babies by insane people like them. No man will see you and think you're a woman, so I'm sure you're good to go to the man's bathroom where you actually belong.
Do you feel proud of yourself for debating college kids who are unprepared to speak in front of an audience like yourself? Hold on. You're 30 years old. We can agree you're 30 years old, right? Do you think that's a little bit silly?
Are you a voter?
I am a voter. I'm a registered voter.
I vote and you vote. So I'm talking to voters of this country that will determine the future of Western civilization. That's what I'm doing here today.
Actually, when I first saw this ad, I thought it was like an improv comedy thing. It looked so ridiculous that I didn't even think it was real.
Well, no, you can see. Look how popular Trump is on your campus. How does that make you feel? That's not comedy. That is a 5-alarm fire for Kamala Harris because she's probably going to lose Pennsylvania.
Look.
But no, I just want to be clear. Is there something wrong with talking to voters?
No, there's nothing wrong with talking.
Well, that's
to
what we're
voters.
doing here today. It's an open
I
mic.
think that you push a dangerous agenda.
Such as?
Your stance on abortion rights, for example.
Here we go.
She's struggling so hard to get a small insult in. I'm embarrassed for you and I don't even know you.
What is your name?
Jean.
Jean, and what is your understanding of the current Republican Party's stance on federal intervention in abortion?
Well, I know that they want to bring it back to the states, right?
So it sounds like you do know that the Republican Party's current stance on abortion is they're against a federal ban on abortion.
I do
And
understand
we're talking about
that,
a
yes.
presidential election as the
Yes.
important election that we're talking about here.
I understand that, yes.
Great. So, again, I think this open dialogue is great. I think it's great you're here challenging Charlie, and I think it's great that he's willing to travel campuses across this country to talk to the next generation. We need more conversation. Now, where's the disagreement, though, on content? Because you could criticize style or why you're talking to people or dunk on someone personally, but where do you actually disagree with
I
the
agree
substance?
with the way that you edit content and specifically frame it so that people look bad talking to you. The way that you edit your content.
We post unedited content.
Ma'am, would you like a belt or something?
Where is an area where you have a disagreement with the conservative movement, with Donald Trump, with Charlie Kirk, perhaps with myself? I was a presidential candidate last year. I think we need to talk about that more in the open, and the more we do, the stronger our country is going to be. We got a long line of people, but I want to hear from you one substantive area where you have an authentic disagreement, and I'd be glad to address it. I'm sure Charlie would too.
Disagree with some of the laws that are being pushed in Congress that are against the LGBTQ community and the trans community.
Okay, so let's talk about that. I'm going to give you my view, and then I want to hear yours.
Okay.
My view is that if you're a fully grown adult, 18 or above, you're free to live how you want, dress how you want, marry who you want if you want, if you're over the age of 18.
I agree.
But you are not free to indoctrinate children in schools who are not yet of the age of consent. You are not free, just as you're a 17-year-old or a 15-year-old can't get a tattoo on their own, I don't think that you should be able to go or until the age of 18. And so the lines that I draw here is that men are free to claim to be women and swim in swimming pools. You're not free to claim trophies in a women's sports competition. You're not free to enter a women's locker room. You're not free to change a language, and you're not free to actually indoctrinate our children who are under the age of 5 in schools. Do we agree on the fact that adults should be able to live freely while still treating children differently? If so, we're on the same side of this issue.
Listen, I agree with the majority of what you said. However, I don't think that you're understanding the implications of the laws that are trying to be passed.
I actually don't think you understand anything you're talking about.
We got a head start in the conversation. We got a long line behind you, but my only ask is forget the personal attacks or the stylistic attacks. Focus on substance. The more we debate that, the stronger we're going to be as a country. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I don't think you're focusing on substance, though. That's the issue.
Hold on. Look, he intentionally tried to provoke substance out of you, and you said, well, I'm worried about some laws Congress should pass. I have to ask, what laws are you talking about? Can you be specific?
I'm sorry, I'm very nervous, but this is what you do. This is what you do. You take people and you put them under the spotlight, and you.
Well, hold on. I didn't ask you to come up here. You voluntarily came to the front of the line.
Is this a free the nipple protest or a political conversation? Anyway, she kept yapping for 60 over minutes, but I don't want to bore you, so over to the next confused human being.
Because what is abortion? What does it do? What does abortion do, ma'am?
It allows women to have the right to choose to move on with their lives and not have to.
What happens during an abortion?
Have a baby.
What happens during an abortion?
A clump of cells is taken out of the woman's body.
Does a clump of cells have a beating heart?
Well, I'm not a scientist, so honestly, what I will say.
Google it.
Yeah. Okay. So everything on the internet is correct. I'm confused as to. This is sarcasm, by the way.
Ask any abortionist. Ask any abortionist.
Okay.
Ask any abortionist if the fetus they dismembered or they sucked out of existence or they induced a heart attack had a beating heart. They will tell you yes.
Okay, but did they have a conscience? Did they have a mental brain that was fully formed and
so
could make decisions?
So your position on abortion then is you're okay with abortion because of conscience. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm okay with abortion because women have the right to choose whether or not they want to have a baby.
But do you agree that abortion kills a human being?
I don't agree that there's any kind of murder in the
Does it end the life of a human being?
It ends the life of cells. It does not end the life of a Yeah, okay, so you're a clump of cells that has been developed over time, but once you leave the vagina, then you're a conscious human.
So you're okay with abortion. So if I'm pregnant, I'm 9 months pregnant, my husband leaves me, I lose my job, and I say, I can't have this baby right now. You're okay at 9 months before the baby leaves my vagina, the abortionist goes in, induces a heart attack, and kills that baby. You have seen nothing like that.
Personally, I cannot speak to every pro-choice person, but personally, 9 months is late enough. However, I still believe,
why is abortion to you wrong at 9 months? Why are you personally against abortion at 9 months?
The fetus is about to come out of the vagina, and it's going to become an actual human. It's like almost fully formed. Almost.
Okay, first of all, we know a child is fully formed way before 9 months, because have you ever seen a child who's born premature at 25 weeks? They're not malformed, right?
Sometimes they are. Sometimes they have missing limbs.
Well, that's genetic.
Yeah. Okay.
But when I had the ultrasound of my child, my 4D ultrasound of my daughter, I wanted to get pictures of what she looked like at 25 weeks. She was fully formed inside of my womb. She didn't just there's not a magical thing in the birth canal. You're like, oh, now there's a human being. That's location. Your humanity can't depend on your location. 2 inches of the birth canal doesn't change you don't magically become a human being because you pass through a woman's birth canal. Because guess what? 2 of my kids never passed through my birth canal. I delivered C-section. Or are they not human beings? Next question.
Do you know the best way a woman can decide to not have a baby? To wait until she's ready to, or to have sex like a responsible adult? Let's stop being stupid. You're a college student. There are 10 characteristics to define a living being: movement, respiration, nutrition, irritability, growth, excretion, reproduction, death, adaptability, and competition. If you paid attention in Bio 101, you would know this. Now, is that clump of cells a living being or not?
What'd you say?
The sink pile at the end.
Oh, so you're implying we're Nazis? Did you know that the Nazis were eugenicists?
Yes.
You know who else was a eugenicist?
Oh, come on.
Margaret Sanger, Planned Parenthood.
Everyone has been made aware of Margaret Sanger's very inhumane stance on several things, but no one cares. She started the organization to kill little black children, but no one cares. All because you want every action but zero consequences? Interestingly sick.
You do way more things as a man that is way more degenerate and way more low down than what I'm doing for a living. So you want to act like that you're so clean and that everybody's a priest and everybody's a pastor. Go ahead and act like that.
No, I don't make that claim at all. People
are and people more focused about girls. People are committing, men are committing all the time, but they have the hate close to an OnlyFans girl.
This is such a fallacious argument. So yeah, those crimes are worse than a woman doing. If somebody complains about something, you say, well, there's starving children in Africa. Yeah, but that's not really an argument because people are allowed to make criticisms over, I guess, more minor disputes or disagreements. So yeah, essay, very bad, but also sex work, also bad.
That's called a false equivalence. Placing a bull and a goat on a double scale, hoping to strike equilibrium. Shut up. Just accept that you do disgusting things. It's not that hard.
I am pro-choice, and I think I've heard Ben say that abortion is evil, but my question is, one, is it a necessary evil for population control? And my opinion is that if we're already at 325 million people right now, I think wages are stagnant. I think jobs are scarce because simply we are overpopulated. So
what statistic can you provide to show that wages are stagnant or that we've run out of jobs?
I mean, people are struggling. People are struggling, and I'm seeing everybody.
So you should kill a whole lot of other people? I'm not tracking your logic.
Okay, so my question is primarily, do you guys think we would be better off with an additional 60 million people in this country right now versus, had we aborted them.
Yeah, so there's this other thing that happened in the mid-20th century where several million people were killed in Europe, and I think the world would be better off with them. What do you guys say?
Now this is a more honest argument. It's evil, but at least it's honest. Thus must be Margaret Sanger's adopted son. Abortion is population control. How disgusting is that thought?
You guys want to talk to somebody? What's up? Yeah. We want to talk to somebody? You're not talking to us, man. Why? Because you're a racist. To me, you're just an op. What do you mean? That guy right there, you taking my picture, you being like, brother, who you work for? I'm trying to give a voice. Then we're not going to talk to you. Okay, well then you're the one that came up to us. Yeah, because you're trying to talk to people here in this march, you're trying to record them. It's going to racist. Shut the
To me, you are just an op. We definitely know who reads at the 6th grade level. I'm sure they sell blue necklaces somewhere, bro. Just ditch the cross.
Where do I get one of those hats?
Oh, my boy made it for me.
Nice.
So yeah, first of all, we're standing on stolen indigenous Tongva land, right? This is.
Are you moving anytime soon?
No. This is still one of my favorite moments from the Jubilee election series. Do we know if he's still here?
The idea of a good wife is the idea of submission. That is the number one thing which makes a wife a good wife, is a submitted wife.
A submitted.
So yeah, see what I mean? It's like you revert right to feminism immediately.
I'm definitely not a feminism. I am so
I know, but
pro-male.
submission is slavery.
But you said that's the only role for a woman is for her to submit.
No, I didn't. I said that's a key quality to a good wife.
Is submission? But you don't think she should make a home?
No, I said a homemaker, whatever you think a homemaker is tangential to submission, because if you have a homemaker who's not submitted, then who gives a shit?
I never said it wasn't. I do think a woman should submit to her husband.
Okay, then what are you arguing about again? Quick rundown on the blonde girl. Her name is Nala. She has been on the Whatever podcast multiple times, but as an OnlyFans girl, this time she came back as a Christian. But her arguing like this is what makes her new position a little unbelievable.
You've never been murdered, you've never murdered anybody, but would you agree that murder is wrong?
Yeah, I feel like murder
Well, then
is
why
wrong.
can't men say that abortion is wrong?
I'm saying that their opinion is unreliable because they have never experienced it at all.
So
like, yes, you
a
can
woman-
have an opinion
So a woman that was
because
never
that's how you
pregnant
feel.
or never aborted a baby should also not have an opinion.
No, I'm not saying they shouldn't have an opinion. I'm saying that they have
Their opinion shouldn't matter. She would ever survive.
No, you're acting just like him because you're.
I know they all reposted Black Lives Matter. I guess they had no right to butt into that conversation either. If you've never suffered something, do not help the suffering. How foolish.
Hey, bro, she mad, bro.
You keep talking, I'm gonna call the police.
Call the police. Call the police. Call the police. Call the police.
Don't even.
That's assault. That's assault. That's literally assault.
Call the police. Call the police. Assault. You gonna do? I ain't touched nobody. What the f they gonna do? I'm from California.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
From this too. 937.
Nobody cares because this is hilarious.
You ain't good. You ain't good.
Okay.
You're ain't good. You're ain't good.
Okay. No. Hey, I'm a black person, not a I'm just let y'all know.
How is acting like that going for you?
Okay, no, here we go. Please come up to the mic.
Hi, Charlie. My name is Sophie, and I have a couple questions for you. My first is that, do you believe in state rights?
Yeah, I do.
You do? Okay. Are you okay then with the possibility of having a nationwide abortion ban?
I mean, there's zero chance of that happening, but of course, one day I would love to have that happen. Yeah, I mean, we can't get 30 Republican senators to agree that they're pro-life, and so it's fear-mongering by your preferred candidate to try to hold on to political power. By the way,
You're
just,
okay with it, though, if it were to pass. If there were to be a national abortion ban, you would be okay with
well,
that.
you know what? It's not what Charlie Kirk wants. If it were to pass, it means the people want it, because the representatives reflect the will of the people.
Or it could be as an executive action.
Well, no, it can't. First of all,
you can reinstate the Comstock locked and have it apply to
the Supreme Court has said that it's to the states, and that's where it holds right now. I think that's a really good place for it, considering the temperature of the country.
Project 2025, which is Donald Trump's plan.
Well, no, it's not actually. So it's like I'm not going to let you come up here and just lie. That's not true. It was done by an outside group. He had nothing to do with it.
Foundation, which he took over 60% of his policies from in his first term. You're going to say he's completely separate from the Heritage Foundation? Also,
yes, I will.
The authors of Project 2025, senior people in his first office.
Well, hold on. Since we're talking about Project 2025, maybe you can help me explain this. Do you support Kamala Harris getting rid of the filibuster to restore Roe versus Wade?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe in the filibuster.
You don't believe in the filibuster?
I think it's anti-democratic.
Okay. Do you think we should ban fracking?
Yes, I do.
Does your candidate?
She's kind of iffy on that one. She was against it, or she was for banning fracking in her.
Do you think she's telling the
truth
truth when she says she's for it?
If you're going to run on certain issues, you better be sure. She wasn't iffy, she's deceptive.
You're foolish.
Well, hey, listen.
Interview, by the way.
You're an activist.
How do you negotiate a ceasefire if you keep killing the leaders?
Well, I agree here. How do you negotiate a ceasefire with a terrorist group?
But
how do you
saying that there's just no solution to the issue? And just...
No, the solution can be with Hamas. Can we agree on that at least here?
So how? But you're saying that that's
no. First, can we agree on that?
I want to respond to this because.
And first of all, what does your shirt say?
It says Party for Socialism and Liberation. I'm an organizer with the PSL.
Okay. Liberation for what?
Liberation for all oppressed nations and all nations fighting against U.S. imperialism. Let me answer the question.
One second. Is the soil that you're studying on part of this?
Have a good one.
100%.
Okay.
Yes.
And what have you done to liberate it? Why do you live here, actually? You're on stolen land. You're on stolen land.
We're all on stolen land.
Why are you here?
100%. It's a colonized country.
And why are you here
There should be
colonizing
reparations. I'm not a colonizer.
Why not?
I'll answer on her behalf. She has never done anything for anyone. She probably lent her hand during BLM riots, but I'm sure that's about it.
To the idiot who broke into my car and is trying to use my credit cards at the local gas station, I'm actually getting like real-time notifications like your card was declined, Capital One was declined, your Bank of America was declined. And how does it feel to know that you broke into a car of someone who is more broke than you?
Now that's funny. Sorry your car got broken into though. Fixing that window won't be a pretty price.
I'm also a part of marginalized groups that have been historically oppressed, and it's like, keep on raising awareness and like slaying. Like, I hope that like we reach more equity soon.
We actually have a equity commitment form. You can actually give up your spot at university for a member of the Tongva tribe. Is this something that you'd be willing to do for this underrepresented, underprivileged community?
Honestly, no, but I hope somebody else does. That's great.
Do we expect a man who says slay and equity in the same breath to actually stand by his words?
We don't get to choose to kill people, sorry.
But they're not alive yet, they're not human.
Yes, they are alive.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are human.
They are, okay, if you kill a spider, that's like the same thing I would say.
Humans aren't spiders.
But they're not human yet.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
You can't say that abortion is the same thing as stepping on a spider. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can. I really can.
No.
Because it's not yet something where the human is alive.
It is alive.
Right, sorry. It's not yet something where it is a human life that you are killing.
Yes, it is a human life. Because a mother never gives birth to a spider.
So when does it become human, though?
It becomes human once it's born.
That is a very creepy stance and a creepier expression. Are you a serial killer by chance?
Dad, do you like your food?
Did you cook it?
No.
Did you have anything to do with this?
Yeah. I paid for it.
Well, sucking dick? Is that like what you're still doing?
Dad, you can't say that.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't want any.
I'm an adult. I can do what I want.
It's disgusting. I want no part of it. And if you had any part
You don't have to have a part in it.
There's a reason your mother isn't even here. And you're lucky that I even showed up tonight.
Oh my god. You get to ruin everything.
So, this OnlyFans girl decided to get content out of her dad for Thanksgiving, and he definitely delivered. I don't understand, isn't that the life you pursue? What is it that he can't say exactly?
Why is it okay for like a woman to kill her child because she doesn't want it?
Who is going to take care of that child otherwise?
Well, she could put the child up for adoption, so adopted parents could. I'd point out, even if there were no adopted parents, I think parents are morally obligated to provide a safe and healthy environment for their child to develop inside of. For example, right, a woman has a 1-week-old child, she can't like starve the kid or like leave the kid in the closet. That's neglect. She get charged with homicide. And I think that's right. Would you agree that like a woman who like leaves her kid in the closet, doesn't feed the kid, like that's homicide, like that's murder? Okay, so I think.
It's not homicide unless it kills the kid, dude.
Okay, so yeah, it kills the kid, right? She starves the kid to death,
Then yes.
puts it in the closet. Okay, so that's homicide, right? Because parents have a moral obligation to provide a safe and healthy environment for the child to develop in. Same thing if she like throws the
For
kid
a
like
wanted
snow.
child.
Oh, so children are only valuable if they're wanted? And it's okay.
Yeah, actually.
So if she doesn't want the kid and she puts the kid in the closet, the born kid, it's not murder?
No, but she shouldn't have had that kid in the first place.
So you don't think that's murder? If she like leaves a 1-week-old child?
Listen, please don't interrupt me.
Yeah.
Thank you. That woman should not have had the child in the first place.
But she did now.
Okay, then she should get rid of that child.
How so? I would say like put it up for adoption, not kill it. You think it's okay if she kills it?
I think that child has already been in existence for a very long time. I think that kid is already developed, and that kid is no longer inside the mother. That kid is no longer a clump of cells that is causing the woman immediate danger.
Clump of cells of human species, right? It's human.
So are tumors.
Yeah, but they're of the same DNA of the mother, right? If we take
so
a look
are tumors.
Once again, I'm talking about the child. Child's different DNA than the mother. Child's not the mother. Child's its own unique human being. Can't kill innocent human beings.
You can get rid of a tumor that is going to cause you trauma.
Yeah, but child's not a tumor. Child's different DNA from the mother. It's not the mother. It's its own unique human being, not the mother.
Viruses don't share human DNA.
The child in the womb's not a virus.
I'd call it a disease.
How's it
Actually,
a
you're
disease? It's by definition not a disease. It's offspring. Also not a parasite because it's offspring.
Well,
parasites can't be offspring or the same species as the host. Child's both.
Okay. If we're going off of the technical definition
Okay,
of...
go ahead.
Thank you. If we are going off of the common definition of a parasite, which is something that sucks the life out of or takes advantage of another creature, then yes,
That's not the common definition, though. We need to go by the biological definition because it's a biological term.
Okay. I'm going by the common definition of people who just...
But that's not the common definition. You can Google it right now. A parasite can't be of the same species of the host, and it can't be related to the host. It's not a parasite.
Okay.
I would say you chewing so abrasively is parasitic to my ears, but that's not right, is it? See, we can't just slam words on things we don't like just so we feel better, especially if that thing is a human being. Newborns are breastfed, still taking from the mother. Is that parasitic then? You big ball of stupid.
Can men get pregnant?
Well, no, I guess men can't get pregnant, but a trans female could get pregnant. Female could get pregnant.
A trans female could get pregnant?
Identify with a man who... Wait, did I say that wrong?
If they don't understand what they are pushing down our throats, why should we? I don't blame you. Nonsense always makes no sense.
We use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat. And instead we can put our listening ears on. So do learn from and amplify the voices of those who have been historically marginalized, and use the privilege you have in order to push for systemic change. As white people, we have a lot to learn and unlearn. So do check your blind spots. You are responsible for your algorithm, believe it or not. Intentionally seek out and share content from BIPOC creators, activists, thought leaders. They should be the leaders of conversations about race and justice and equity. So be ready for feedback and listen when you're corrected, and model doing your best to repair harm that's done, because a lot of the times being an ally means being willing to be uncomfortable. And no one is more uncomfy than someone talking to their bigoted family members. So yes, we're going to talk about the elephant in the room, no pun intended.
So this is a teacher talking absolutely nonsense during a Woman for Harris Zoom call. Okay, how is this not racist? These people believe that they need to make way for black people because black people are unable to do anything by themselves. Well, she got fired. So all's well that ends well.
One of the things I always make my hearing friends do is stand to the left of me. Because I'm deaf in my right ear and hard of hearing in my left ear, I hate whenever my friends stand to the right side of me and I have to look over to the right and break my neck while trying to hear. And because my hearing friends always forget, I have to train them to stop doing that. What I do when my hearing friends stand to the right of me, I will literally stop talking, fold my arms, and stare at them forever until they realize their mistake, because they can't keep doing that. And I get that people will forget, but what do you want me to do? I can't have a sign.
Well, aren't you just a ray of sunshine that makes the world more beautiful and overflowing with love? Your friends are so lucky to have you. Never forget that.
Sorry? Whoa, what, you just called me? Oh, sorry, can I have this lady arrested? She just called me a I've got it on video. Can you arrest her? A public order, just called me a You just called me a nuts. Sorry, can you take her away? Sorry, can you take her? You can't call people that. You cannot call people that. You can't call people that. Yeah, you can't call people that. No. Yeah, I've got it on video.
Guess who's not laughing and pointing anymore? You? Guess why? Because you're going to jail.
Giant toddler.
If you're going to tell people that this person is a constant threat, why wouldn't somebody try to eliminate that threat?
Then
If
all
this
of the
had
right
happened
wing
and
is
it was
guilty,
flipped,
including you.
Tank, you're gonna have to learn how to control yourself. I know it's very difficult for you, but you just had a very long time to speak and we were quiet. I promise you can do that. You need to sit on your hands, then you should do that. Weak men are the ones that are going out here
Like
proclaiming that Donald Trump is a threat because they've never had real conflict in their lives. And you're about to see that example right now. Cenk is somebody that grew up, obviously, with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's never had to fight for anything in his life and has never had to put his life before somebody else's. So it's very easy for him to behave like a toddler who is throwing his toys out of the...
Now, don't you just love Candace Owens? If women actually seek equity and desire women in places that matter to society, if women really want to affect change, they should pay a little more attention to Candace Owens not beat summer politicians and celebrities. I would love to show you something completely ridiculous.
Just a daily reminder that it's not physically possible to earn $1 billion and that humans are really bad at understanding the difference between a million and a billion. 1 million seconds is about 11.5 days. 1 billion seconds is 31.5 years, which means that 2 billion seconds is about 63 years, but 2 million seconds is like 3 weeks. 3 million seconds is about a month. 3 billion seconds is about a century. Billionaires shouldn't exist.
Did anyone ever say millionaires or billionaires made their money $1 per second? Mustaches do not make you smart. Analogies do not make you smart.
So if you had a daughter and she was 10 and she got and she was gonna give birth and she would and she was gonna give birth and she was gonna live, would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
It's no, but it's a real life scenario that happens to many people.
The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
Oh, okay, great. So that's insane.
But let me tell you why. No, hold on. Let me ask you a question. There's 2 ultrasounds I have. One is a baby conceived in, one is a baby conceived by a loving couple. Which one is which?
You don't know.
Exactly, because it's all human rights
But
and it's all human beings.
that doesn't matter.
So
It's about your daughter who has to give birth to it and is going to be tortured by that for the rest of her life. That's going to take away every freedom she's ever going to have. That's going to ruin her life. She's going to grow up and she's going to be attached to another thing.
The point is how you were conceived is irrelevant. What human rights you get.
But
hold on one second. If a person conceived and walks down the side of the street, it's not like they don't get First Amendment rights or Second Amendment rights.
It's not about that person.
The worst thing to do to the daughter is to then say, hey, we're going to go for the being inside of you.
They wouldn't even know. Like, listen.
They wouldn't know?
Listen.
But wouldn't it be a better story to say something evil happened and we do something good in the face of evil instead of saying we're going to do evil and then for the being because we're going to pander to the evil? No. What makes the West great is that we do good.
The problem is that we all know that their actual fight is not for children who unfortunately get molested. It's for irresponsible men and women who want to commit foolish actions but get rid of the consequences. That's what it's about. You are not fighting for children. You are not fighting for victims.
You're gonna I'm watching the golf. Don't Tiger Woods me here like a Jack Nicholson me. I love the sport, although I don't play it. Okay. And I'm following you. You're not gonna stay with me. This is gonna make a lot of sense to you. These 2 professional golfers were being interviewed, and the host said, "What makes a good golfer?" And one of them went through this beautiful, elaborate description of what makes a good golfer, where you put your hands, where your shoulders are, where your legs are, where your eyes are. And the other one went like this. I look to see where the ball lands. I like where the ball lands on immigration, on abortion, on judges, on taxes, on losing the regulations, on reversing the war against oil and gas, on standing up to China. That's what I like. The rest of it is white noise, pardon the expression.
See how Larry Elder passed his point across with sounding like a child in need of a nap? Very mindful, very demure. See how the other guy just screams and makes accusations? Very woke, very liberal.
In terms of how you behave from your childhood, anything.
I would say it's
let's be honest, right?
100%.
100%
yeah.
Correct, right?
Of course.
Okay, so in the case of Black people, if you look at 400 years of abuse.
You're not 400 years old, sir.
No. I said black people.
You're not 400 years old. Black people.
I'm not saying me. I'm saying black people.
Nobody black is 400 years old.
Oh, that's just a piece of it. Had to endure the trauma, and now we're still here today. My point is that you say racism is not alive today, but
I didn't say that. You said that.
Okay, what did you say?
Racism is no longer a major problem in America.
Correct.
It's no longer powerful enough to hold anybody back that's willing to work hard and follow the 4 or 5 things I just now mentioned. I never said racism is gone.
I agree with that, but the effects of racism are still very much alive. The effects, and effects will last generations upon generations.
That's nonsense. 1940, before the Civil Rights Act was passed, before the Voting Rights Act was passed, open housing was passed, 87% of blacks lived.
Okay, finally, someone who was willing to listen, learn, and unlearn. Good for him.
So my question for you is, how do you sleep knowing that you've used power to hurt people instead of help them? And do you believe that the Koch brothers will turn you from a puppet made out of ham into a real boy if you hurt enough people?
Well, this is the wonder of American discourse. As another speaker in our circuit, Ben Shapiro, says, the facts don't care about your feelings. In this case, the reality is...
It's always the obsession with throwing a viral insult, but you just ended on a channel like this, where your foolishness is highlighted in neon colors.
No, again, because the facts are the facts, and I don't listen to, it's why I haven't read the comments on social media for 7.5 years, because people, like your statements, like to make up things that they hear from people that they want to believe, when the reality is, that's one of the problems and actually Barack Obama, I don't often agree with him, but I agreed with something he said the other day. I don't know how many people saw this, but he was talking to his foundation about the climate in America today, particularly on social media. It's part of the reason why I don't read comments on social media, because people on the left and on the right in some cases, so I'm not saying it's exclusive out there, say things based on things they hear from sources they want to believe, as opposed to looking at the facts.
You all need to go back to school and major in LGBTQ studies right now. Please find a cure. Everything is going downhill.
With my credit card, I max it out to 4,000.
What do you mean you max it out? Max it out or maxed it out?
So my max, I got confused with the credit debt and credit limit. I ended up getting a max credit limit of $8,000. So I could spend up to $8,000. That's what that means, right? Me and my boyfriend, me and my friends, we would go out and I'm like, oh, I'll pay for everybody. I got it. I'll spend the money. Don't worry about it. It's just a credit card. So I would pay and pay and pay and pay. And then I called my mom one day and I wanted her to be proud of me. So it's just like, hey, I've got $4,000 credit on my credit card. And she's like, credit limit or credit debt? I was like, what's debt? She's like, that's bad. Why did you do that? I'm like, I thought that was good.
This is just what you should expect when young people focus on learning gay sex than they learn life skills. Says a lot about where the education system is at.
Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
This is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it. It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression. It's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
She wrote a whole chapter of the word woke in her book and can't explain what the word means? Then what exactly is that chapter about? She should have been honest and said, I have no idea, but I am certainly cashing in on the phrase.
How do you believe that it's okay to kill an animal when it's not okay to kill a child? You defend a child more. Some children die. Some children never make it out of the womb.
Well, because human beings are human. A is A, and human beings are worthy of protection, and animals are not humans.
What about milk? But animals are raped all the time. Cows are raped to produce milk. Yeah, to produce milk, a cow has to be impregnated.
You think that cows are being raped? I gotta be honest.
Yes.
I've been doing this for 12 years. I've never heard that before.
Yes, but they are raped because they're not referred to as being raped. They're said to be forcibly inseminated. How come that's okay, but raping a small child is not?
I would not.
Yeah.
Welcome to Bodily.
There is only one thing to say here. No child should be allowed around this human for the sake of their safety.
Why are you destroying private property? That's not cool. You just can't take down other people's ideas because you disagree with the idea of it. If your guys' ideas are so fragile they can never be challenged without you ripping down that, I think that says more about your ideas than his.
Posters aren't supposed to be on the lampposts because you need to have permission to place them.
Like how your flyer is on the pole? So the only free speech that's allowed to happen is yours. Is that what you're saying?
We're not going to interact with you. If you want interaction, it's not going to happen.
But you won't come and ask them a question.
You won't put up the flyer. Come on.
Just so you can tear them down again?
There's still plenty up, aren't there?
We're not taking down your flyers. We're not covering up your flyers. I don't know why you feel the need to take ours down. You want to call us fascists. You want to say that we're horrible people because we have different viewpoints than you, but you're the ones taking down the flyers.
It is called double standard for a reason. She made so many valid points, and they couldn't even come up with one.
What is a woman?
I think a woman is somebody who identifies as a woman.
Got it. So that's not a definition. That's like saying a table is something that identifies as a table. Give me an objective definition.
If I decided right now that I wanted to identify as a woman, I would be a woman.
Okay, but that doesn't answer the question.
I know, but right now I'm a man, right? So if that happened right now, I would be a woman.
So
once a person makes the decision to identify as a woman,
got it. No,
they're a woman.
That's a separate issue. What is a woman?
That's the definition.
No, I know, but you have to tell me what.
A person who identifies themselves as a woman.
But you have how do you know that they are that thing? It's called circular reasoning. You have to give me a actual definition.
I don't have to. I did give you a definition.
No. You said that a woman is something that thinks they're a woman. That doesn't give me a definition.
Everyone claims to know what a woman wants until it's time to really say what a woman really is. If I wake up and I decide that I identify as a cockroach, then everyone better be careful around me.
Slavery begins in the early 1800s.
Earlier.
No.
Slavery?
1816 is the beginning of slavery.
1619.
Oh, yeah, I guess it would be. Okay.
If she forgot when slavery began in an argument about slavery, I'd have to doubt whatever else she says.
Yes.
When does life begin?
In my opinion, well, human life began, or when does life begin? Because that's a different question.
Human life. That's the operative question,
human
right?
Life begins when a human can survive outside, a human can survive outside
Why?
the body.
Why do you believe that?
That would be, well, because,
No, I don't.
Human life, if I cut off my finger, is that human?
Got it.
That clump of human cells, is that different?
Well, let me ask you a question. So if someone who's on a ventilator who can't survive without external machine support, is that a human life?
Well, they can survive outside the womb.
But not without a machine. Without assistance. Without help.
Okay, people on ventilators, oftentimes will cede their right to be removed
or
from
someone on dialysis or
someone
someone who's in a nursing home. They can't support themselves, right? So but those are still human lives.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay. I think you know the difference between a developing human that may not have a heartbeat or may not have.
Well, heartbeats start at 6 weeks, so that's a different.
That help you.
Now we're moving it back.
So you would be okay with a 6-week abortion then?
No.
According to his own side, he shouldn't be allowed to have an opinion on this issue. That is the only ground his logic is acceptable.
Okay, I see. Okay. And then when it comes to the hose and different area codes, will you, knowing that you'll only be in a city for a couple hours or maybe just overnight or whatever, will you or other flight attendants be on dating apps? I mean, I know you mentioned your girl, she was on Craigslist trying to set things up before.
Somebody call the cops or the hospital or the asylum. Call somebody. And her hair just had to be blue.
Do you stand against the genocide of children?
What do you think?
I'm asking you.
Were you asking me?
Yes, you do.
Were you asking me?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, that's what's happening in
Okay,
Palestine
where do you
now.
stand on abortion?
Huh?
Where do you stand on abortion?
We're here to talk about abortion.
Where do you stand on abortion?
We come here for
That
Palestine.
is not relevant.
Where do you stand on abortion?
I think you're antagonising the situation.
Exactly.
I don't think I'm antagonising anything.
Right?
But what I'm saying to you is I feel that you are antagonising the situation.
I don't think I'm antagonising anything. I'm allowed to ask questions to people.
You're not here because people are already angry.
Do you stand against the genocide of children?
People are already angry. Don't antagonise.
Okay, so
Classic fighting to pull out a speck from a stranger's eye when you have a plank dangling out of yours. You want to fight for children in Palestine? That's fantastic. When will the children in America be fought for? You want to kill yours and save another's.
Here are the first 15 promises he has made if he is reelected. First, he promises that he will carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in history. He will also ask for the death sentence for anyone convicted of human trafficking. He will put prayer back into school, and he will criminalize any race based advantage programs. He will ban gender-affirming care for adults and children, and he will ban any federal dollars from going towards gender-affirming care. He will increase the penalties for underage criminal offenders, strengthen immunity for police officers, and deploy the National Guard to patrol woke cities. He will push Congress to pass legislation that would give every American the right to concealed carry anywhere at any time. He will demand that Europe pay back all the money we gave Ukraine, and then he will use all of that money to recruit for the...
Who is going to tell her that her video looks like an endorsement, not condemnation? Not looking good, brats.
My name is Diddy. And I'm non-binary. My pronouns are she, they. And I'm queer. And this is me officially coming out.
Is this how Duddy plans on running away from the bottles of baby oil? I don't think so. Okay, that's it for today. You have been a fantastic audience. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. See you in the next one.